In a faraway land, in a beautiful kingdom surrounded by thick forests and flowing rivers, there lived a maiden named Amara. She was the most beautiful girl in the land, so beautiful that even birds would pause their songs to look at her face. Her skin glowed like morning sun on a river, her smile could stop a quarrel, and her dance? Oh, her dance could make even the wind stand still. By the ancient customs of her people, every few years, the prince of Yukalu Kingdom would choose a wife through a grand dance festival. Only maidens of royal or noble blood could contest, and they must dance with a pot filled with fresh palm wine on their head. If the prince was pleased with your dance, he would dip his golden cup into your pot, and that was the seal. You had been chosen as queen. Everyone in the village believed that Amara would win, and so did she. From a young age, Amara had been praised for her dancing, but instead of remaining humble, she grew proud and arrogant. Her mother, who also believed her daughter was destined to be queen, never corrected her. Instead, she filled Amara's head with pride and entitlement. When suitors came from far and wide, hoping to marry her, they were all chased away. Some came with yams, some with gold, some even with cows. But Amara and her mother would laugh and shout, "Go away! I'm the future queen. I don't marry villagers." And so, she began to prepare for the dance. She created secret steps, powerful moves she believed no one else could ever copy. Every night, she would practice alone in the courtyard, twisting and spinning like a goddess. She would look at the other maidens and mock them. "You are just filling space," she would say. "I'm the crown's choice." She started walking around the village with her head high, calling herself Queen Obi, and making others kneel before her as if she were already on the throne. One day, a quiet girl named Chinaza came from a neighboring village. She was not very flashy. Her clothes were simple and her eyes looked shy. She came to Amara's house and knelt. "Please," she said, "teach me how to dance. I just want to learn." Amara burst into laughter. You want to dance?" she scoffed. "Do you plan to contest?" Chinaza, afraid, shook her head quickly. "No, I just want to learn." Amara sneered. "Good, because you could never compete with me. But if you really want to learn, serve me for 3 years. After that, I may consider teaching you how to move your feet." And so Chinaza began to serve. She swept, cooked, fetched water, washed clothes, massaged Amara's feet after practice, ran errands, and even got beaten for mistakes. Amara and her mother treated her like a slave. People in the village pitied her. "Why do you stay?" they asked her. "She will never teach you. You are wasting your time," others said. But Chinaza would smile softly and say, "My heart tells me to stay." Unknown to Amara, every night as she danced and kept Chinaza waiting in the cold, Chinaza was watching and learning, step by step, move by move. Every secret style was engraved into her memory. As the dance contest approached, the kingdom became busy. Every family with a maiden of royal blood was preparing. Mothers bought the finest fabrics. Fathers traveled to distant lands to find the best crafted clay pots for palm wine. There was music in the air, tailors sewing late into the night, and whispers of hope among the maidens. Amara was at the center of it all. She designed a glowing outfit made with silver threads and golden beads. She rehearsed harder than ever and made Chinaza work twice as much. "Polish my beads. Iron my wrapper. Go to the stream again," she barked. Chinaza obeyed. Quietly, calmly. What no one knew was that Chinaza too had royal blood. Her father, though late, was a titled chief from Aji village. But she didn't wear her bloodline like a badge. She believed actions speak louder than ancestry. Finally, the dance day arrived. The palace square was filled with people in colorful attire. Elders sat in front, drummers by their side. The king, queen, and the handsome Prince Emeka sat under a golden canopy, watching eagerly. The maidens stepped forward one by one, holding pots of fresh palm wine, balanced gracefully on their heads. Amara walked in like thunder. Her outfit sparkled in the sun. She turned to look at the other maidens, and then her heart sank. She had forgotten her pot of palm wine. Frantically, she turned to look for help. And then her eyes froze. There stood Chinaza, wearing a matching outfit, holding a glittering pot, standing among the contestants. "What are you doing here?" Amara hissed. "Get out! Leave now!" Chinaza smiled. "So you think I am not human enough to stand here? You are not even royal." Amara barked. "Who told you that?" Chinaza replied. "My father was a chief. Some of us don't wear our bloodline like a necklace." Amara stood stunned. She turned, looking for someone, anyone, to help her go fetch her pot. But no one moved. One girl whispered, "You called me a market rat once." Another said, "You said my legs were too fat to dance." Even her mother was lost in the crowd, bragging loudly to strangers that her daughter would be queen. When it was Amara's turn to introduce herself, she stepped forward with empty hands and shame in her eyes. I forgot my pot," she said, trying to smile. "Please forgive me." The elders whispered. One said, "She remembered her beads and makeup, but not the sacred palm wine? Misplaced priority." The king looked at her with pity. Then he raised his staff. "Let it be known," he said, "that today we look not only at beauty and dance. We shall also hear what value each maiden has to offer the kingdom as queen." The crowd nodded. Each girl danced beautifully. The drummers kept the rhythm. The ground shook with excitement. For maidens advanced to the final stage. Amara, Chinaza, and two others. One by one, they danced again. Chinaza danced first. Every secret move Amara had hidden was performed to perfection. The crowd went wild. Children screamed her name. Elders nodded. Even Prince Emeka smiled. Amara watched, frozen. Her secret steps stolen. When it was her turn, she danced stiffly. She avoided her signature moves, afraid the people would say she copied Chinaza. Though she danced well, the crowd was quiet. Now came the final question. Each maiden was asked, "What value will you bring to the kingdom if chosen as queen?" Amara went first. "I will always wear the finest clothes to represent this kingdom," she said. "I will make sure everyone pays their taxes. I will never miss a royal function." A few clapped politely, but most frowned. The other two gave brief answers. Then it was Chinaza's turn. She spoke with grace and strength. "I dream of building a healthcare and midwifery home, so no mother dies giving birth. I want to help farmers get access to fertilizers, so our harvests won't fail. I will work with the prince to bring clean water, build schools, and train young girls to become women of value." The crowd jumped to their feet, cheering. Prince Emeka stood, walked down the royal steps, and gently took Chinaza's hand. He kissed it, pulled out his royal signet ring, and slid it onto her finger. "I have found my queen," he said. The crowd roared. Amara, burning with shame, fled the palace in tears. And so it was that the humble servant became the queen, not by beauty alone or dance or clothes, but by patience, humility, wisdom, and purpose. The celebration went on for days. People danced, sang, and shouted Chinaza's name. From being a housemaid, she had become a queen. Girls looked up to her, and boys wished they had treated her better when she was unnoticed. The villagers now walked with pride, saying, "Our queen is wise and good." But deep in the forest, where the village lights did not reach, someone else was watching. Amara. She had run away in shame. Her hair scattered, her face full of tears. Her fine beads now looked like chains on her neck. She didn't return home. She couldn't face her mother or the people. Instead, she hid in an old hunter's hut far away, angry, bitter, and full of plans. One night, a mysterious old woman came to her hut. Her back was bent, and her eyes looked like they could see secrets. "You were supposed to be queen," the old woman said. Amara looked up. "Yes, I am the best dancer. She stole from me. Would you like to get your crown back?" Amara didn't answer, but her silence was loud. The old woman brought out a black gourd tied with red and white threads. "This," she whispered, "is the oil of reversal. If it touches the queen's feet before sunrise, she will forget how to dance. Her words will turn to foolishness. The prince will send her away." Amara's eyes lit up. "Give it to me." "But," the old woman warned, "the one who uses it must never speak a lie again, or her beauty will fade, and her body will rot like a fruit in the sun." Amara nodded quickly. She didn't care. Chinaza was now Queen Chinaza. But palace life was not as easy as she thought. Some elders didn't like that a maid had become queen. They whispered lies about her. Some jealous maidens claimed she had used charm. Even the royal cook gave her burnt food on purpose. She stayed strong, but her heart was tired. One night, Amara sneaked into the palace dressed as a servant. She saw Chinaza praying alone at the palace garden. Quietly, she crept behind her and rubbed the black oil on the back of her feet. Then she vanished. The next morning, something changed. At the king's meeting, Queen Chinaza was asked to speak about her plans. She stood up confidently, but instead of talking about hospitals and farms, she said, "We must paint all the goats in gold." The room fell silent. Someone laughed, thinking it was a joke. Then she said, "Let us give sugar to the snakes so they can sing." Gasps filled the room. The prince frowned. "My queen, are you feeling well?" She smiled but said, "The trees are watching us. Don't trust the sky." Now the people began to whisper. Some said it was madness. Others said the gods were punishing them for letting a servant sit on the throne. The prince was worried. His heart was torn. Could his queen truly be cursed? The prince decided to visit the oldest woman in the land, Grandma Nwakego. She was blind but wise. People said her ears could hear lies, and her nose could smell wickedness. He told her everything. After a long silence, she said, "There is wicked oil upon her. Only truth can wash it away. Find the one who lied to steal her crown. Make her confess in front of the fire before the sun sets." The prince returned with guards and began searching the village for anyone who might be behind the queen's strange behavior. Someone mentioned seeing Amara sneaking around. They found her, still wearing servant clothes, hiding in the forest again. The prince ordered, "Bring her to the village square." As the sun began to set, the crowd gathered. A fire was lit in the center. The wind was loud, almost as if the spirits were watching. The prince looked at her and asked one question. "Did you put something on the queen's feet?" Amara's hands shook. Her lips trembled. But then she shouted, "Yes, I did it. She stole my steps. She stole my place. I was supposed to be queen." Suddenly, the fire roared higher. The wind howled, and before the people's eyes, Amara's beauty began to fade. Her skin became pale. Her hair lost its shine. Her voice became rough like an old drum. She screamed and ran away, but the people turned their backs. As Amara disappeared into the forest forever, Queen Chinaza, who had been watching everything silently, slowly stood up. She blinked. "My prince," she said clearly. "What just happened?" The curse was broken. The prince ran to her and hugged her tight. The people cheered. The drummers beat their drums again. The skies cleared, and the sun returned from the clouds. Queen Chinaza later built the health center. Mothers stopped dying in childbirth. Crops began to grow better. She taught girls how to dance and lead, not just with beauty, but with brains. And every year at the dance festival, she told her story. Don't let pride make you blind. Don't let bitterness ruin your heart. And never look down on those who serve, because sometimes a crown grows in the most humble heads. Life in the kingdom of Yukalu returned to peace. The queen's wisdom brought blessings. The health center was completed, and for the first time, old women smiled as babies cried safely into the world. Farmers were given good seeds and tools, and hunger began to fade like a bad memory. But peace, as they say, often invites envy. In a quiet corner of the village, an old woman returned from hiding. Her eyes burned with anger. It was Mama Oluchi, Amara's mother. She had once walked the village like a peacock, boasting of her daughter. But now she was forgotten. Children pointed at her, calling her the mother of the fallen. She never forgot how her daughter's dreams were shattered. She blamed Chinaza for everything. One night, as the moon lit her broken roof, she took a small gourd and whispered to it, "You failed us once. You won't fail me again." This time, she made a new potion, not to curse the queen, but to turn the prince's heart away. Slowly, strange things began happening in the palace. The prince became distant. He no longer smiled when Chinaza entered the room. He avoided her touch. At meetings, he praised others but forgot to mention her efforts. Chinaza was confused. One night, she entered his room and asked softly, "My love, have I offended you?" The prince didn't even look at her. "You speak too much," he said. "A queen should be seen, not heard." Chinaza's heart cracked a little. She didn't know that Mama Oluchi had found a way to slip her love potion into the prince's wine during a festival. And it worked. The prince began to hate her. While the queen's heart was hurting, a stranger arrived in Yukalu. She wore a long green scarf and had eyes that looked like she could see tomorrow. She went by the name Adora. No one knew where she came from, but everywhere she went, she helped people. She healed a boy with a swollen leg using only herbs. She helped an old woman recover her voice by boiling a special root. Queen Chinaza heard about her and invited her to the palace. When Adora entered the palace and looked into Chinaza's eyes, she whispered, "You carry a heavy load, my queen." Tears filled Chinaza's eyes. "Yes, my husband no longer sees me. My heart breaks every day." Adora nodded. "There is a shadow behind the throne, and its name is revenge." That night, Queen Chinaza and Adora snuck into the royal wine chamber. They waited. A cloaked figure came in, holding a small pouch and whispering to herself. It was Mama Oluchi. She dropped powder into the prince's wine jug, laughing softly to herself. Adora stepped out of the dark. "Your tricks end tonight." Mama Oluchi gasped. "You again?" Another little rat crawling after the crown. But Adora was not just any stranger. She was a guardian from the Mountain of Light, sent by the ancestors to protect the chosen queen. With one shout, "Let truth be revealed," light filled the chamber. The prince, who had followed the queen quietly, saw it all. He saw his once proud mother-in-law bent over his wine, poisoning his love. The spell broke instantly. The next morning, Mama Oluchi was brought before the people. She confessed to her crimes, the potions, the lies, the curses. But Queen Chinaza raised her hand. "No prison," she said. "Let her be sent to the healing hill. Let her learn that hatred rots the hand that holds it." The people were shocked, but they clapped, because true queens rule not just with power, but with mercy. Prince Emeka fell on his knees before Chinaza in front of the people. "Forgive me," he said. "I lost my way, but I have found my heart again." Chinaza helped him up. "A kingdom ruled by fear will fall, but one ruled by love will never shake." They kissed as the people chanted her name. Years passed. The king passed on, that the prince was crowned king with Chinaza by his side as queen. Queen Chinaza bore a daughter and named her Adayabi, which means beauty with purpose. She built schools, led farming projects, and started a dance festival for young girls. Not for a prince, but to celebrate talent and unity. And every time people gathered to dance, they would tell the story. Once a servant girl became queen, not because she was the best dancer, but because she served, forgave, and led with wisdom. Amara was never seen again, but her story was told as a warning. Pride may dance loud, but only humility wears the crown. Thank you for listening to the story of Queen Chinaza. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more African stories full of wisdom, wonder, and truth. Until next time, may your heart stay humble and your feet keep dancing.